are meeting on the traditional country of the Kaurna people of the Adelaide Plains. We recognise and respect their cultural heritage, their beliefs and relationship with the land. My name is Tony Huey. I'm the Chair of the Board of Debating SA, and it's my great pleasure to welcome you to the 2015 Debating SA Senior Grand Final. Today is the conclusion to another terrific and a very, very busy season of debating competition. I thank and I commend all debaters who have taken part this season, and I hope that you've learned about and improved your skills in the art and craft of debating. I hope too that you've also enjoyed working with your colleagues and your teachers and had a lot of fun as well. Debating SA is and remains committed to promoting and supporting debating as a very, very valuable and worthwhile skill for our young people. This year we've had a record 196 teams representing 56 schools across the government, Catholic and independent sectors. We're very honoured to have the ongoing support and patronage of the Governor of South Australia, His Excellency Unley. All teams taking part in today's Grand Finals will be presented with the Medallion of Recognition at a ceremony to be held later in October, the details of which will be advised to you in due course. We're still in the course of finalising those details. I want to publicly and sincerely acknowledge and thank James Tran and Sonia Lowen for their unstinting commitment and hard work in organising and running our program, as well as providing training and resources for all our schools. We thank the army of parents, coaches, teachers, adjudicators, families and helpers, all of you here today, who have provided invaluable service and support in so many ways to our debaters. We thank all of our host schools for so generously making available their facilities and their staff so that we can hold our debates through the season. We're very grateful to the Honourable David Spears, Member for Bright, along with his parliamentary colleagues for kindly and generously facilitating our use of this facility today. We also acknowledge the presence today of a guest adjudicator, the Honourable John Gardner, State Member for Morialta. He's over there. Thank you. John is the Manager of Opposition Business in the House. He's the Shadow Minister for Police, Correctional Services and Justice. He lives in Athelston in the heart of Morialta and Rostrevor, which is his electorate. He's actively engaged in the local community, being a member, sponsor and supporter of a large range of local service, sporting and other community groups. John was elected as a member for Morialta in March 2010 and currently serves as the opposition whip. He has worked hard to advocate for his local community in his time in Parliament. So on behalf of Debating SA, John, we thank you very much for your time and contribution. To all the debaters, congratulations on a fantastic season and to getting to this magnificent Grand Final today. What better place to be on this glorious spring Adelaide day than here in the lower house of the Parliament of South Australia, which stands as a wonderful symbol and powerful symbol indeed of democracy, free speech and debate. So I think it's a fantastic place to have this Grand Final, and I hope that you all enjoy what's about to come. I'm sure we're in for a very engaging and challenging debate. So without further ado, best of luck to both teams, and Mr. Chairman, let the debate begin.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Xuan Wen, and it is my pleasure to welcome you to the 2015 Senior Debating SA Grand Final debate. The topic of this debate is that the development of artificial intelligence poses an unacceptable threat to our humanity. Hoping to convince you of the truth of this afternoon's topic is the affirmative team from Pembroke School, consisting of first speaker, Julia Creighton, second speaker, Matilda Hatcher, third speaker, Ying Tong Lee. And trying to show you of this afternoon's topic is false is a negative team from Unley High School, consisting of first speaker, Jack Cheshire, Second speaker, Nick Pembroke, and third speaker, Isaac Thiele Swift. This grand final debate will be judged by a panel of 5 adjudicators, who are Mr. Blake Wedlow, Mr. David Morton, Ms. Malwinka Waira, Mr. Paul Hoadley, and special guest adjudicator Mr. John Gardner, MP, member for Morelta. The speaking time of this debate is 8 minutes. A single warning bell will sound at 7 minutes, and a double bell will sound at 8 minutes. If required, a continuous bell will sound 30 seconds after the second bell, indicating that the speaker must conclude their speech. I ask that all mobile phones and other electronic devices be switched off for the duration of the debate. I now declare this debate open and call upon Julia Creighton to open the affirmative case.
Good afternoon, Mr. Chairman, ladies and gentlemen. The topic for this afternoon's debate is that the development of artificial intelligence poses an unacceptable threat to our humanity. We, the affirmative team, strongly agree with this statement. We define the development of artificial intelligence, or AI, as the current theory and development of computer systems able to perform tasks normally requiring human intelligence, the goal of which is to develop artificial general intelligence, or strong AI, which is a machine that can successfully perform any intellectual task that a human being can. We define poses as to have the possibility of presenting or constituting. We define an unacceptable threat as an unsatisfactory cause of danger to our humanity, which we should not accept. Our humanity is defined as the quality of being benevolent, including the humane treatment of each other, respect to the individual, and the alleviation of suffering. Today, I will be talking to you about how the irresponsible development of artificial intelligence and the development of an irresponsible artificial intelligence pose an unacceptable threat to our humanity. Included in this, I will also talk about the possible risks of artificial intelligence. Our second speaker, Matilda, will be talking about how artificial intelligence lessens our ability to have decision-making on ethical issues, the impacts of artificial intelligence in certain tasks and jobs, and the effect on our privacy. Our third speaker, Ying Tong, will rebut and sum up our team case. Now to my first point, that the development of artificial intelligence poses an unacceptable threat to our humanity, as the current methodologies used in development are not sound. Currently, the details of the research methodology of artificial intelligence are behind closed doors. There is little transparency, no self-regulation or codes of practice. Because of this, if an AI laboratory brought a human-like intelligence into existence tomorrow, we would not be prepared for the ethical considerations involved in the further development of that artificial intelligence. Not having any regulation or codes of practice entailing things such as the use of AI or the production of AI means that we are posing a threat to our humanity. Firstly, the human likeness of artificial intelligence raises moral concerns as to the worth of its existence, consciousness, and dignity. As a truly intelligent being, we must treat it with respect, as we would any non-artificial intelligence. But with our current research methodology, we may subject it to highly immoral treatment. To explain this, I would like to take us back several hundred years. Imagine we're the British Empire, debating about whether or not exploration and development of our new land and resources poses an unacceptable threat to our humanity. What are the rights of those being developed? In this case, these are the native residents of these areas, such as Aboriginal people. In our case, this is artificial intelligence. We must ask ourselves, what are the potential consequences if we completely mishandle these issues of rights? There is terrorism, moral wrong, a scar on our history that is yet to heal. In our case, this could be artificial intelligence retaliating against humans, for example. Artificial intelligence is not evil, nor inherently inhumane. In fact, it is the exact opposite. It has the capacity to be every bit as human as we are, and so we need to treat it accordingly. are Aboriginal people evil or inhumane? Obviously not. But the British treated them poorly and we all pay the price of that today. And if we had the chance to go back and have this kind of debate, our society and particularly those affected would be far better off. In addition to this, another important part of development is the general public. They need to be aware that AI is developing faster than many believe. Without public education on artificial intelligence, ignorance and fear will be the main decider in how they are treated. An example of this is the past, and even today in our own country, with some people having little understanding of Aboriginal Australians, holding some very incorrect and ignorant views. If we continue this development without regulation and without education, we simply do not know the capabilities of an artificial intelligence. This is clearly an unacceptable violation of characteristics of our humanity, like our benevolence, compassion, human treatment of one another. Our current methodology of development is dangerous. These risks of development are unacceptable, and with things such as self-regulation, we can reduce them or eliminate them. Why are we incurring such unnecessary risks when we can achieve the same objectives by developing artificial intelligence responsibly? We should not accept opening ourselves to these as a consequence of failing to take into account our humanitarian duty to others in the development of artificial intelligence. In this way, the development of artificial intelligence does certainly pose an unacceptable threat to our humanity. Going on from this, if an artificial intelligence is developed and is treated inhumanely as I have described, we begin to raise our children and surround our citizens with a moral behaviour. What kind of ethical framework will change and develop in the minds of humans on how to treat living beings, precious resources and possessions? As we continue to develop artificial intelligence, we continue to unacceptably threaten our human characteristics, our humanity. My next point is that our current research methodologies do not ensure that we are developing a responsible artificial intelligence due to their capabilities of destruction and damage. At some point in time, artificial intelligence is going to happen. So if it's going to happen, we must ensure that it is developed in the best way. As Stephen Hawking has said, our future is a race between the growing power of technology and the wisdom with which we use it. Those developing AI need to be thoughtful and know exactly what they are creating, carefully coordinating advancements to ensure that AI stays within our control. Artificial intelligence should be built like a bridge. The idea that a bridge is supposed to be structurally sound is the most important part of the bridge. Similarly, everyone who works with artificial intelligence should view the purpose of the technology as something to help and retain our humanity. If we do not set our development right, we may face a variety of consequences. Errors, breakdowns, and unanticipated behaviour may result in detrimental circumstances. Artificial intelligence could take over, outsmarting our financial markets and out-inventing our human researchers. What if, like Stephen Hawking, Bill Gates, and the Director of Engineering at Google believe, a self-improving AI will give rise to a singularity, the point when artificial intelligence and other technologies become so advanced that events become predictable or even unfathomable to human intelligence. All of these possibilities may seem crazy and impossible, but with the inappropriate development that we are currently using, they're entirely feasible. So, Mr. Chairman, ladies and gentlemen, this afternoon I have discussed artificial intelligence and have focused on how through their development they pose an unacceptable threat to our benevolence, compassion, wisdom and humane treatment of one another, all things that make up our humanity. Ladies and gentlemen, the development of artificial intelligence does pose an unacceptable threat to our humanity, and I hope I have convinced you of that. Thank you.
Jack Cheshire to open the negative case.
Good afternoon, Mr. Chairman, ladies and gentlemen. The topic of today's debate is that the development of artificial intelligence poses an unacceptable threat to our humanity. And we, the negative team, believe this statement to be false. I must now take the time to point out some flaws in the opposition's argument. To begin with, we disagree with a number of definitions provided by the opposition. Firstly, their definition of the development of artificial intelligence is too narrow. Trying to say that the development of an entire technological field is in fact all focused on a single goal is unreasonable. Just like saying that the development of medicine is to try and make humans immortal, or that the development of power is to try and create unlimited amounts of power that we can have at our fingertips. Sure, there are certainly possibilities of that development, but it is not the entire point of the development of this particular science or this particular technology. Additionally, we disagree with their definition of humanity. We offer our definition of the development of artificial intelligence as the evolution and expansion of software capable of performing tasks typically considered to require human intelligence. Now, we also disagree with the definition of humanity. Now, also this definition is too narrow as well. Humans are not always intrinsically benevolent, and although our qualities can indeed include empathy and also emotions in general compared to artificial intelligence, we also have a number of other traits which we also have independent from artificial intelligence as well, which I'll go on to in my points. Now, the opposition team has said that in one particular statement that we can develop AI responsibly, and thus implying that we can develop artificial intelligence in a way that does not pose an unacceptable threat to our humanity, therefore arguing in our case fundamentally. The topic of this debate is that the fundamental development of artificial intelligence poses an unacceptable threat, and they have said that there is in fact a way we can develop artificial intelligence that does not pose an unacceptable threat. They've also said that there is no regulation in the field of artificial intelligence, which it does ignore the core fact in science that any kind of research has to be presented in front of some kind of ethics board. There has to be ethics involved in just clearing any kind of research in general. But also, they're also attacking a form of artificial intelligence that we don't even know exists yet. And how can we have laws and rules and regulations for a particular type of artificial intelligence that we have no idea whether or not it will exist yet? It's like creating premature laws for things that might happen in the future. It's totally ridiculous and should not be expected. I'll now move on to my points. In my first point, I will discuss the chief characteristics of humanity and how artificial intelligence will never threaten these core qualities. Humans are the dominant form of life in this world. Yes, they're the dominant form of life in this world. And this is most likely due to our higher order intelligence, amongst other things. Humans are capable of thinking in a manner extremely broad and versatile, and in many ways this makes us unique. Comparatively, artificial intelligence is capable of less versatility and lateral thinking, and more pure arithmetic logic. The difference is aptly summarised by philosopher Nick Jankel when he said, "We can create things, and we can also do so consciously. Yet, no machine, no matter how flashy, has ever been able to do this." This is mostly due to the fact that artificial intelligence is constructed for a particular purpose, where the human mind is not. The world which we live in has lists of variables and possibilities that can be given from any particular action, and therefore our intelligence has evolved to suit this by the advanced abstract reasoning, innovation, emotion, and empathy. Some of these processes are so complex and irrational that even we ourselves cannot quantify them. We consider these traits to be a part of our central humanity, and these processes are, from our current information, unique to humans. Artificial intelligence is not currently capable of performing these processes, most likely due to the very fact that we cannot understand them ourselves, and therefore we cannot construct intelligence with these human traits. We have no reason to assume that artificial intelligence will never be able to more than emulate these qualities, thus still leaving them fundamentally human. And artificial intelligence does not pose a threat to our human properties, our human characteristics. Secondly, not only does our development of AI not pose a threat to our own human qualities, it also does not pose a serious threat to our human dignity and well-being. Popular is the paranoia surrounding the future of artificial intelligence, and when it becomes advanced enough, it will suddenly take over our lives, a la Terminator. Jeff Hawkins, neuroscientist and developer of artificial intelligence, states in an article on the matter that I don't see machine intelligence posing any threat to humanity, and goes on to explain the flawed assumptions that would have to be made to bridge the gap between AI now and the human-threatening AI that we see in the future. One of these assumptions is that this intelligent AI will have some semblance of human emotion, that it will continue its existence to want to grow and to want to rule because it wants power. But how do we know that it will want anything? Desire is an emotion and is entirely irrational. And AI is designed and based on logic and rules, and so to expect it to think illogically is totally ridiculous. This misconception is derived from the idea that AI thinks the same way that we do fundamentally, and so advanced AI should fail in being objective in the same manner that we do. But as I've shown before, this is blatantly not the case. AI is programmed and follows a specific set of rules defined by its own code, and will do so systematically until it arrives at whatever result is expected. We think differently than this, and so we can't expect AI to have emotions. The development of artificial intelligence cannot pose a threat to our humanity, because we have no reason to rationally believe that it will ever try to. Our paranoia is simply us falling victim to the very human trait of irrationality. My last point is that the threat posed to humanity is not the development of artificial intelligence, but instead in not developing it. Much of the danger that AI poses currently is because it is not developed enough. As proved, not developed enough to perform this task safely. Nick Bostrom, director of the Future of Humanity Institute at Oxford University, observes in his book, Superintelligence, People, Dangers and Strategies, that an AI inbuilt with a single drive could be dangerous to our humanity by threatening human dignity and life. As an example, he hypothesizes that an AI programmed with the simple task of maximizing paperclip production would ultimately drown all of its human co-workers in a pile of paperclips. And also surmised that even a robot which has been tasked with the most high of duties as to making all of humanity happy, one of its solutions could be that it injects some kind of toxin into everyone to make them perpetually smile. Both of these examples, however, are demonstrations of the potential risk AI poses due to its underdevelopment. They are the results of AI lacking sufficient intelligence to respect human dignity due to the crudeness of its programming. A real example of this can be found in an accident that resulted in the death of a contract worker at a Volkswagen factory in Badental, Germany in June this year. A robot designed to bend metal got a hold of this worker and quite promptly bent him. And so, in conclusion, the development of artificial intelligence does not pose a threat to our humanity, as what makes us human
continue the affirmative case, please welcome Matilda Hatcher.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. The development of AI does pose an unacceptable risk to our humanity. Let me start by examining some of the arguments proposed by the first speaker of the negative team. Now, the first negative speaker has disagreed with our definition on a number of counts, and I would like to address those words in question now. First of all, artificial intelligence, which we have defined as having a primary goal. And there is a primary goal to artificial intelligence development, this is undeniable, but other things will be achieved along the way, and our definition will encompass all of these achievements. Now, humanity. We have quite a wide definition which encompasses many human characteristics like benevolence and empathy, but we will show today that even if it were to be expanded to include more negative human traits like malevolence, AI would still pose a threat to all of these human characteristics. So we will debate under these premises. The first negative speaker has said that artificial intelligence will never be as clever as a human brain, will never be as empathetic as a human brain, and therefore there will be no risk to our human characteristics. What this argument assumes is that artificial intelligence always remains subservient, if you like, to humans, that it always remains under our control. But the very real risk espoused by great thinkers such as Stephen Hawking is that they will not always remain so. As Hawking said in the interview with the BBC last year, once humans develop artificial intelligence, it will take off on its own and redesign itself at an ever-increasing rate. Humans, who are limited by slow biological evolution, couldn't compete and would be superseded. And Hawking is not alone in thinking that this is a very real scenario. Bill Gates, Elon Musk, and the Global Challenges Foundation share his concerns. And if that doesn't pose an unacceptable threat to our humanity, I don't know what does. Now to return to my own team's case. This afternoon, our first speaker, Julia, discussed the unacceptable risks that our humanity will face as a result of the lack of thought being given to the ethical considerations associated with the development of artificial intelligence. I will now focus on some of the uses to which artificial intelligence is likely to be put, and how this will pose an unacceptable risk to our humanity. These uses that I will consider are making decisions on important ethical issues, tasks requiring the exercise of empathy, jobs currently undertaken by humans, and surveillance tasks. My first point this afternoon is that we will lessen our humanity when we use artificial intelligence to avoid making choices on important ethical issues which morally we should be making ourselves. Being human involves making a multitude of decisions every day. Many of these decisions are of limited importance and can be delegated to an artificial intelligence without concern. But there are also decisions which are of such import that we should never outsource them to someone who isn't human. I'm talking about critical moral choices, such as whether or not to go to war. We are only in the early days of realising the potential of artificial intelligence, but it is already clear that artificial intelligence will be used to make these types of decisions. As early as 1982, Arthur C. Clarke was reported as saying that wars no longer start in the minds of men, they start in the circuits of computers. So do we as a society regard human life so lightly that we are happy to farm out the decision of whether or not to launch a missile attack? Surely this is the type of decision which simple human decency dictates should involve a conscious choice made by a human being. Delegating the decision to an artificial intelligence is a cop-out. It gives us a way to distance ourselves from difficult decisions by convincing ourselves that we personally did not make the decision, even though it was our actions that caused those decisions to be made. Computer says no is a very easy thing to say. To shirk our moral responsibilities by delegating morally sensitive issues to an artificial intelligence makes us lesser people than we should be. In this way, the development of artificial intelligence poses an unacceptable risk to our humanity. My second point is that it diminishes our humanity when artificial intelligence is used in situations which require the exercise of authentic communication skills, such as caring and empathy. As artificial intelligence develops, we will undoubtedly see it used in situations where a high degree of caring and empathy is required. There will be our carers in nursing homes when we are in our dotage. There will be delivering medical diagnoses to patients. There will be teachers in our schools. I put it to you that using artificial intelligence in these situations poses an unacceptable risk to our humanity. Because by using AI in these types of interactions, which cry out for human-to-human contact, we are shirking our responsibilities to each other. Our responsibilities to care for each other, to support each other and to sympathise with those in need, which are basic tenets of our humanity. Using AI to undertake roles requiring authentic human interaction sidesteps our responsibility to be humane to each other. The development of AI in this way represents a threat to human dignity and an unacceptable threat to our humanity. My next point is that the development of AI will cause fundamental changes to the structure of our economy, which will pose an unacceptable threat to our humanity. Our entire economic system is currently based around scarcity, and in particular, scarcity of labour which we provide and which we are paid for. The widespread availability of AI will mean that much of this labour, our labour, will be expensive and substandard in comparison. Why hire a person when you can employ AI to do the same job? A 2013 Oxford University study predicted the loss of up to 5 million jobs in Australia within 2 decades, and we haven't even developed strong AI yet. This widespread disappearance of existing jobs will have a huge impact on our individual livelihoods. Millions of us will face unemployment and will be denied the right to work and to take a meaningful role in society. The impacts of redundancy on people's well-being and personal sense of worth are well documented, but we will be talking about redundancies on a massive scale. What could be more detrimental to our humanity than denying people the opportunity to undertake meaningful paid employment and the means to supporting their family? The development of AI poses an unacceptable risk to our humanity. My final point this afternoon is that artificial intelligence poses a threat to our privacy. A report in the Sydney Morning Herald this week detailed how our mobile phone's metadata can be used to track our every move. The day will inevitably come when artificial intelligence will have the capacity to monitor every email which is ever written, every Facebook post, every Google search, and every phone conversation, when facial recognition technology will keep close tabs on us. The information so gathered will give governments and private organisations access to personal information which will be used for many purposes, some of which I guarantee we will not be comfortable with. Privacy is a fundamental human right. With loss of privacy, we lose respect for an individual. We lose one of the basic qualities of a humane society. Its loss threatens our humanity in an unacceptable way. All the risks to our humanity that I have discussed are all risks that are inherent in the development of AI. This is why they are unacceptable, as with appropriate regulation and foresight they could be avoided. As Julia has already explained, the great minds of our time, including Stephen Hawking and Bill Gates, have predicted that there are unacceptable risks associated with singularity, which we need to address now. In conclusion, ladies and gentlemen, this afternoon we have prosecuted the case that the development of AI poses an unacceptable risk to our humanity. Our first speaker has explained to you the consequences of the lack of thought being given to the ethical concerns that are inherent in the development of AI. I have discussed the unacceptable risk to our humanity which will follow from the uses we are likely to make of artificial intelligence. The development of artificial intelligence clearly poses an unacceptable risk to our humanity. Thank you.
To continue the negative case, please welcome Nick and Pembroke.
Good afternoon, Mr. Chairman, ladies and gentlemen. The topic of today's debate is that the development of artificial intelligence poses an unacceptable threat to our humanity, and we, the negative team, strongly disagree with this statement. Before I go on, I'd like to point out some flaws in the opposition's case. Firstly, I'd like to say that we do stand by our definition. The opposition has said that their definition of artificial intelligence is greater because artificial intelligence holds a primary goal. However, there is no evidence to support this. There is no way we could possibly know there's a primary goal involved. There's just no proof. Secondly, they have also mentioned that Stephen Hawking, Bill Gates, and other illustrious names have signed on with an interview with the BBC explaining the risks associated with artificial intelligence. However, a bit more recently, Stephen Hawking, Elon Musk, and all these illustrious names have also signed a letter explaining the benefits of artificial intelligence and acknowledging that it could potentially have greater impact in our lives, which I will be explaining further on in my speech. Thirdly, they have also said that artificial intelligence could possibly make decisions about war. However, there's no evidence of this either, and this quote is taken out of context, as artificial intelligence, as it was when this quote was originally stated, artificial intelligence was not as developed today as it was back then. So this quote does not hold up. Our first speaker, Jack, has talked about what makes us human, the development of artificial intelligence to date, and how the development of artificial intelligence will phase out artificial stupidity. I'll be speaking about the development of artificial intelligence being an expression of our human traits, how helpful artificial intelligence is, and that we humans are in control of the development of AI. Our third speaker, Isaac, will be summarizing our case and rebutting the oppositions. My first point today is that the development of artificial intelligence is, like all scientific research, an expression of our very human trait of innovation. The extent to which innovation is present in the human race is greater than in any other species, making it an integral part of our humanity. While even chimpanzees, our closest living relatives, have remained in the wilderness living off naturally occurring food supplies, we humans have developed cities and agriculture. Surrounding us today are many examples of human inventions, such as the microphones on the seats, the mobile phones that we have in our pockets. Even the building we are debating in today is a symbol of the political system that we, through our human ability for abstract thought and reasoning, have developed. Artificial intelligence is a new frontier for our innovation and curiosity. And to deem it as such a great threat to our humanity that we should disallow it poses an even greater threat to the key components of our humanity. Not only would the cessation of the development of AI be a case of censorship to our human curiosity, it would also have implications for innovation in other scientific fields. Artificial intelligence offers advancement in the fields of computer science, engineering science, and medical science, the latter of which not only demonstrates our human innovation, but it also helps us to become healthier, better humans. This is not the first time scientific innovations have been deemed dangerous. According to the website Extra History, when the steam train was first invented, many feared its speed would damage travelers' lungs and eyesight. Such fears were ultimately unfounded, and the persistence of human innovation has increased the strength of human connectivity. The development of AI has the potential to also bring benefits to our humanity, and this leads into my second point. According to Google, the most used artificial intelligence is that found in search engines. This is to bring us search results, information, and other sites that are recommended for you. Google being the most obvious example of this, as it's used by over 1 billion users. By providing people with more accessible information, artificial intelligence has, if anything, developed our humanity by allowing us to test our abstract thinking and expand our minds. Furthermore, Google and other technology companies are developing driverless cars, which are planned to be released to the public in 5 years' time. Currently, they are in testing, with results showing that it is actually safer to have a self-driving car than to drive yourself. Of the 23 cars in testing, there have only been 14 accidents, and these were not due to the self-driving cars, but other cars with human drivers. Artificial intelligence will also be able to conduct mundane tasks, allowing us to use our time more efficiently. Currently in Japan, hospitals are testing new robots capable of autonomous movement. I reiterate, this is autonomous movement, not thought. the machines are programmed with a route through the hospital and are being used to move patients from room to room, as well as delivering equipment to certain doctors and nurses. Without these robots, hospital staff would have to waste precious time doing these tasks themselves, when they could be more directly using their human qualities of the understanding and application of medicine. There's also an open letter to the scientific community, which the other team has brought up. Elon Musk, Bill Gates, and Stephen Hawking have all signed this letter, explaining some ways in which artificial intelligence could bring an end to poverty and disease. Surely from these facts, it's not difficult to see that AI is not only improving our lives, but is also helping us to develop characteristics that we deem to be human. My third and final point is that we, humans, are in control of artificial intelligence development. We are aware of the risks and are taking measures to regulate them. This is not to say that the development of AI should stop. It shouldn't. There are far too many positives associated with artificial intelligence to not view it as a potential asset to our lives. Regulating the development of AI means that we can slowly identify the risks and neutralize them before they become a threat. South Korea has developed an automatic turret system that is currently being used on the northern border. It is capable of shooting and killing someone from up to 4 kilometers away. This technology is deadly and dangerous, no doubt. However, my point is that no other country has developed this technology, not because of a lack of resources, but is in fact a choice that militaries have made after seeing such a terrible weapon. World leaders have seen the risks and made the decision to not pursue this type of weapon any further, due to its capabilities showing that we are able to identify the risks that could possibly escalate into an unacceptable threat. South Korea itself has ceased production of the auto turret, only adding to the point that we are in control. Clearly we understand the risks and are taking action to remedy them before they become a threat. In conclusion, I have proven that the development of artificial intelligence is not threatening our humanity, but is rather helping us to expand our human characteristics. I have also explained how artificial intelligence is helping humans advance in various scientific areas, as well as helping to expand our minds. Finally, I've explained how we are in control of the development, and that there is no unacceptable threat. I've hence proven that the development of artificial intelligence does not pose a threat to our humanity. Thank you.
To conclude the affirmative case, I call upon Ying Tong.
Good afternoon, Mr. Chairman, ladies and gentlemen. Without ethics, man has no future. That is to say, mankind without them cannot be itself. That was English novelist John Berger. Today, we, the Affirmative team, have spoken to you about the ethical challenges involved in the development of artificial intelligence. As a result of these concerns, which have yet to be addressed, we firmly believe that the development of artificial intelligence poses an unacceptable threat to our humanity. Now, before I give an overview of my team's argument, I'd like to take this opportunity to address some of our opposition's concerns. The first speaker of the negative team spoke to you about how, because because we don't yet have strong AI, laws or regulation would be premature. But ladies and gentlemen, the fact is that development in this respect is happening now. The fact is that experts in this field want consideration of these issues. In January of this year, Stephen Hawking, Elon Musk, and dozens of artificial intelligence researchers signed an open letter titled Research Priorities for Robust and Beneficial Artificial Intelligence, which calls for increased concrete research on how to prevent certain pitfalls. As Charlie Chaplin observed, the progress of science is far ahead of man's ethical behaviour. We simply cannot wait for something to exist, for something to go wrong, before we start thinking about it. The second speaker of the negative team also referred to that open letter signed by Elon Musk and his associates and seemed to suggest that in this letter it was suggested that AI was only a force for good, but in fact this is completely wrong. This is a complete misrepresentation of the content of that letter. The letter was a bridge between those who believe that AI has benefits and those who believe it has risks. It does express that AI can have benefits, as we have expressed, but it also focuses on the risks that this development will bring to humanity. Now, the first speaker of the negative team spoke to you about how AIs operate on pure mathematical logic, treating how they are programmed and follow systematic rules, dealing with AI as if it was a simple machine created for a single purpose, and so therefore cannot act irrationally. Well, ladies and gentlemen, we have drawn a distinction today between weak AI and strong AI, which may be where some of this confusion comes from. Strong AI, as we have explained, the end point of AI research, though of course other things may occur, have a number of tests. First is computer scientist Alan Turing's Turing test, in which an AI must fool a panel of human judges into thinking that it is human while interacting with them in a free-form conversation. Convincing people that it's human. Surely pure mathematical logic cannot accomplish this. But there is more. Artificial general intelligence, as we have explained, should be able to accomplish anything a human can. Ben Goertzel's coffee test asks an AI to go into an average house and figure out how to make coffee, including finding the coffee machine, figuring out what the buttons do, finding the coffee in the cabinet, and so on. Again, surely a purely mathematical, machine-like AI would not be able to satisfy this definition. And finally, Ben Goertzel's college student test, in which an AI must enroll in a human university, take classes in the same way as humans, and graduate with a degree. Again, simple mathematical logic is simply unable to accomplish these goals of AI research. Now, the second speaker of the negative team spoke about how there is no evidence for AIs or computers starting wars. Well, ladies and gentlemen, let me tell you about the Cuban Missile Crisis. On June 3rd, 1980, during the Cold War, the entire North American Defense Command was alerted to a non-existent missile attack. Without direct human interference in determining the computer mistake, nuclear war would have broken out. The risk that we will use computers to start wars or make decisions that need to have a conscious human being making a conscious choice on the morality of those decisions and the correctness of those decisions is real. Now, the second speaker also in their speech suggested that we are arguing that we should drop AI research. Well, ladies and gentlemen, we are absolutely not saying that we should put a stop to the development of AI. We are simply saying that there are great risks in the development of AI, which can be mitigated and which we thus should not accept. In fact, it could be argued that in order to combat these risks, we should accelerate research into friendly AI, which can prevent any further research that would be dangerous. The point is that the threat of AI being used in ways failing our humanity is there. But there are ways of reducing the threat, through regulation, or codes of conduct, or just giving it a good thing. To unnecessarily expose ourselves to these risks by failing to consider them, as research does now, is unacceptable. Now, the second speaker also talked about how AI would allow people to be freed up from mundane tasks to do other things, to be more human and creative and imaginative. Well, what this argument ignores is the fact that many of those time-consuming and mundane jobs are being done by people. Someone is currently being paid to clean those toilets. As our second speaker mentioned, the development of AI will cause a huge dislocation to our existing economy, resulting in mass redundancies of millions of people. Sure, some people might take up this opportunity to become more creative, but millions will suffer from the mental and physical effect of having no meaningful employment, no meaningful role in our society. Now, ladies and gentlemen, we can fix this. By giving careful consideration to these consequences, this doesn't need to be the case. The implications for humanity will be profound, but if we develop AI in the right way, then we can prevent this unacceptable threat to our humanity. The second speaker also spoke a lot about the benefits of AI. But ladies and gentlemen, this debate is not actually about the benefits of AI, it's about the development of AI. It's not about whether AI is good or bad, it's about the risks associated with the development. And as we have explained, there are big risks associated with incorrect development that we need to fix. So on to a recap of my team's reasons for supporting the topic today. Our first speaker, Julia, spoke about how the development of AI poses important moral and ethical questions on the way in which it is conducted. As German and French philosopher Albert Schweitzer remarked, compassion, in which all ethics must take root, can only attain its full breadth and depth if it embraces all living creatures and does not limit itself to mankind. She also spoke about the consequences both to our humanity and to humanity as a whole of failing to appreciate the importance of these considerations. Our second speaker, Matilda, spoke to you about the impact of unrestrained application of AI on our humanity, including the sidestepping of humanitarian responsibility to act with compassion and with empathy, and the weakening of our privacy which artificial intelligence facilitates. The Dalai Lama said that love and compassion are necessities, not luxuries. Without them, humanity cannot survive. Ladies and gentlemen, the development of artificial intelligence poses an unacceptable threat to our humanity. Thank you.
To conclude the negative case and this afternoon's debate, I call upon Isaac Theodosmith.
Mr. Chairman, ladies and gentlemen, the topic of today's debate is that the development of artificial intelligence poses an unacceptable threat to our humanity, and we, the negative team, disagree. Before summarising my team's case, I would like to take the time to point out some misleading claims the opposition has made in theirs. All of the speakers of the opposition have insisted that it is inevitable that someday artificial intelligence will reach a singularity point, the point at which weak AI becomes strong AI and it can think for itself. However, firstly, this may not happen. We cannot take it for granted, and Nick Bostrom, who was quoted by our first speaker, has said himself that this may never happen. We can't know for sure. And even if it does, it will take time. There is still time for us to be aware of the potential risks in development and to address them before they became threats. The third speaker of the opposing team has also said that the opposition is not arguing that the development of AI should be discontinued altogether, that it must merely be regulated. Well, then the threat must be acceptable. It must be that any threat which exists can be accepted. If it were unacceptable, we would not be able to continue without that threat existing and being too much for us to live on as humans. They also said that the question of whether AI is good or bad or could serve humanity is irrelevant from this debate. We disagree. If there were absolutely no benefits to AI and a whole lot of threats, of course that threat would be unacceptable. However, it is the benefits of AI, which I will reiterate from my second speaker, to potentially end disease and poverty that make it a risk worth taking and not an unacceptable threat. The third speaker also said that, well, the second and third speaker argued that jobs need to be protected and therefore AI must not be allowed to develop as it threatens some mundane jobs, which, because they are done by humans, are an integral part of our humanity. However, maybe if we didn't have to spend money on these jobs, we could spend more money on education so people could get more human, creative, professional jobs. It's also important to remember that this is not the first time in history that technology has been seen as a potential threat to people's jobs. I recall a simple event in human history known as the Industrial Revolution, during which there was a huge change in how production was undertaken. Factories became more advanced and one worker could now do the work of many. However, that was not a threat to our humanity. We are still here today and just as human as we were before the IR. The third speaker also said that the open letter that we mentioned outlines the risks as well as the benefits of artificial intelligence. We agree there are risks. There are risks to everything. Coming here today meant being in a car and potentially having a crash. However, because that letter points out the benefits, and he even said is a bridge between those who are concerned about AI and those who are enthusiastic about AI, it shows that those risks can be managed, and therefore the threat is not unacceptable. The third speaker also said that laws around AI would not be premature because the development's already happened. However, as our first speaker indicated, ethics laws in the area of science and research already exist. Experiments and research must be approved by ethics boards, and laws generally don't exist to address hypothetical situations. Allow me to demonstrate. It is possible that intelligent life exists somewhere off this planet. However, there are no statutes on the books to say what we're going to do in the case of an alien invasion. It's simply too hypothetical to be worth considering in that legalistic sense. The third speaker also brought up the Cuban Missile Crisis as an example of how artificial intelligence will lead to war. There's one problem with this. The Cuban Missile Crisis did not result in war. It might have got close, but it's an example of how we as humans can manage artificial intelligence and prevent it from being an unacceptable threat. In fact, we could argue that the development of artificial intelligence would help to mitigate the threat because any computers involved in the military will be better able to make those distinctions between a situation requiring the use of arms and one not. The second speaker brought up that artificial intelligence threatens our humanity because it's a threat to our privacy, that governments will use it for surveillance. But governments are already conducting surveillance on us. In fact, they've done it since time immemorial. They don't need artificial intelligence to invade our privacy. They can do it anyway. Some might even argue that being able to extend this helps our humanity because it makes us safer. The second speaker also has said that artificial intelligence will one day take jobs like doctors and teachers for which humanity is needed for the basic interactions required for the work. However, again, there was no evidence for this. This has not happened anywhere, so it's impossible for us to say that it will definitely happen and that this poses in itself an unacceptable threat to our humanity. The first speaker also said that in our research of AI we must be humane with it, or we risk making the same mistake that the British did in colonising Australia. This, however, ladies and gentlemen, is a false analogy. Aboriginal Australians are, believe it or not artificial intelligence. They were human beings, whereas AI is a computer system that we have developed ourselves. We have all the information on it because we set it up. We know exactly what it's about. The British didn't understand the Aboriginal Australians when they came here. The situation was different. They had not created them. Therefore, this analogy falls apart and does not demonstrate that artificial intelligence poses an unacceptable threat to our humanity. The first speaker also made the point that artificial intelligence will someday threaten our humanity by being a threat to our human societies, that it will develop into the threat of terrorism and will damage financial markets. However, this is a slippery slope argument. There is no evidence that actually exists to show that this is going to happen. Is it a risk? Maybe, but to say it's an unacceptable threat is a bit of a leap. Therefore, it is a slippery slope argument and should be discarded. Ladies and gentlemen, the topic of today's debate has been that artificial intelligence poses an unacceptable threat to our humanity, and we, the negative team, find this statement to be false. Our first speaker, Jack, outlined the uniqueness of our humanity, how we have certain human qualities like curiosity, dignity, which artificial intelligence may be able to emulate on a superficial level, but will never be able to truly recreate. He also demonstrated that AI will never take over the world because it will never have the simple ambition for that. A lot of the assumptions we make about AI hinge on the flawed assumptions that it will share our human flaws, which, as we have demonstrated, it would be programmed not to do. He also demonstrated that the development of artificial intelligence, if anything, helps to protect our humanity, as artificial stupidity, as in the case of the German factory worker, is the true threat to human beings. Our second speaker, Nick, reminded you that the development of artificial intelligence, like all science, is an expression of human curiosity, which, in the name of our humanity, must not be stifled. He also demonstrated that AI can be useful, meaning that the threat, if it exists, is not an unacceptable one. Finally, he reminded you that we are in control of our own developments, that we can make the decisions and prevent an unacceptable threat from developing. Thus, we have proved that artificial intelligence does not pose an unacceptable threat to our humanity.
Ladies and gentlemen, we're just waiting for the final adjudication from the panel. Before we do that, can I just say to you how reassured I am, hopefully, that as a teacher I won't ever be replaced by artificial intelligence. But I think you'll agree that it was a very entertaining, challenging, intellectual and wonderful debate today. So before we hear the final adjudication, I want to, on your behalf, congratulate both teams and thank them for a magnificent Once the adjudication is presented, there'll be an opportunity for photos for each of the teams. Debating SA will take some, but we'd also like the coaches to come and join your teams in that photo. Parents and supporters, you're very welcome to also come down and take some photos of your team.
I call upon the representative of the Adjudication panel to come forward and award the debate.
Once again, congratulations to both teams. Echoing Tony's comments, it's fantastic to see the level of debating that we've had here today, and both teams should be very proud of how they debated today and where debating is at. It's on my personal opinion, it's a very reassuring thing, and hopefully if these guys want to become politicians one day, the country will be in very safe hands. Ladies and gentlemen, in accordance with Debating SA's policies, on the panel adjudication, it works by a simple majority. I can say the decision was split today, 4-1 in favour of the negative. Well done. We also get toward a debating award, and today the decision was unanimous in that respect, and today that is going to Isaac Thiel-Swift.
I call upon a member of the run-up team from Pembroke School to give a vote of thanks.
Hi, firstly, we'd like to thank our coach, Miss Reid, and our parents for their continuing support which we've had from them. And we'd like to thank everyone in the audience for coming out and supporting us today, and of course James Tran and Debating SA for continuing this bloodthirsty sport. Thank you.
And I'll call upon a member of the winning team from Unley High School to second the vote of thanks.
I'd just like to thank all the audience members for coming out. It's a really big crowd. We don't normally get this many people at a debate. I'd like to thank the adjudicators for adjudicating this debate and the opposition, because you guys put up a really good fight. I can see where you get the bloodthirstiness from. And of course, Debating SA's team, thank you very much. Cheers.
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for your attendance. I now declare this debate closed.